Welcome to the Board Game Snobs podcast. Critically harsh reviews with a touch of class.
And go.
Yeah, welcome back to the Board Game Snobs podcast. This is probably the only podcast for which keeps with the standard stereotype of two guys bantering back and forth about off-topic discussions rather than getting to the point.
Two guys talking.
That's it. And it works, doesn't it?
I think it does.
It does. It really does. I mean, because what's the option? I mean, what other option
Two
do we
guys
have?
not talking. I mean, I'm sure we could mix it up, get some other people in here. I guess that's the option. Or just not talk. What if you just recorded, like you just said, hello, two guys not talking, and then just silence for an hour?
Isn't that like basically what that AMSR stuff that you listen to? It's just people
Oh my
whispering.
God, it's ASMR.
That's what I said.
I don't know what the A stands for, actually.
Are you okay? Are you having a stroke?
It's a meridian. You have made me forget what that stands. Autonomous.
Meridian response.
Sensory.
Autonomous meridian.
What does autonomous mean?
It means it just happens. It's automatic.
Autonomous. And this is true because I was listening to one of my ASMR videos. My right ear is what gives me my ASMR. My left ear doesn't do it. But when they whisper into that right ear, nice and deep up in that cochlea. Oh man. Oh man, them tingles start. Oh my God. But left ear, nothing.
That's
Is
weird.
cochlea the right term?
Cochlear. Yes. Cochlear. So you had an ear infection here, didn't you?
I had several ear infections.
So
Cochlear, yeah,
was
you're
it
right.
your right ear that was infected?
No, it was my left ear.
So you were cochlear blocked.
I was cochlear blocked.
Cochlear blocked?
I was.
And you couldn't listen to your ASMR.
It affected me greatly. Well, no, I could have got my tingles out of my right ear, but it's binary, so I need both ears going.
So what if you tingled just in one side and not the other?
I do. That's what I'm saying. I tingle from the right. I don't tingle in the left.
How's it tingling? To the right.
I
I have a much more interesting.
Go ahead.
I have a much more interesting story. Much more. So I was getting ready to go to work, and like normal, I have like my little checklist of things that you walk out the door with. So I'm getting on my Fitbit because I got to watch my heart rate, and I got my.
What's your heart rate at?
Right now, now that I'm
Yeah.
highly medicated, it's like high 50s.
50s?
Yeah, my
Good Lord.
my resting heart rate's in the 50s.
I'm in the 80s.
I know.
Does that mean I'm fat?
That means that you're having a hard time. Your heart is having a hard time pushing blood out into the rest
My
of
poor
your body.
heart. What do I need to do to fix that? Lose weight?
Probably. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. But I would suggest.
You're a medical professional.
Indeed, I am. Thank you for bringing that up. I am indeed a medical professional.
And you help people die peacefully and sound.
Which is what
sound
I'm
asleep.
doing. That's what I'm doing with you. I've given up on you.
I'm slowly dying.
You're on hospice. You don't know it. I'm just trying to make this as comfortable and bearable as possible.
I don't think you have actually ever said that you have a new job.
I do.
I've referenced it many times, but you have not ever explained it.
I have the same old company, but they've have me now assisting in the hospice division, which is a little bit stressful. But
Which for a person that is not good with, let's say, empathy.
I have empathy out the wazoo.
You're surprisingly good with these situations, though, which is but due to your being on the spectrum, it is also helpful in that like certain things don't affect you, but you're surprisingly good at being empathetic. Like even when my mom was sick and you like showed up just to be there for me, and you're like, you're very good in these situations. I believe you're good at your job. This is me praising you.
I'm really good at my job. And matter of
It
fact,
it will not happen. It doesn't happen often because you praise yourself enough. But I am going to praise you and say that I can imagine you're quite good at hospice, because despite the fact that you come on this podcast and you espouse your heartless views about things, when it comes to actually doing your job and people in need, people dying, you show up when you're needed to and you take care of things.
It's because I'm a great actor, and I'm always asking myself, what would Timothy Chalamet do?
Chalamet!
And so him too. And so whenever something's going on, I channel my inward Daniel Day-Lewis, and I do my best to convey.
What would a person that cares do?
Yeah. Well, you have to show emotion. It's not. I have found with most neurotypical people, it's not just good enough. You have to show the emotion. And I'm not good at showing it, so I have to make sure that I show.
I did see a tear go down your cheek when we watched James Bond die in No Time to Kill. Spoiler alert.
Spoilers.
It's been a month. They should have seen it by now.
That's right. I will return the compliment. You are a fine truck driver. I imagine anyone who can listen to me on a headset talk to them while watching Netflix on their phone while driving an 80-ton load of sand down the Dallas highway.
No, a 4-lane highway.
Yeah, it's like yeah.
It takes some skill. I'm not going to lie.
You are the finest of, and in England, they have no truck drivers right now. England is in trouble.
Really?
Yes, it's all you don't watch the news.
I do not. Is it on Twitter?
Listen, no, but it's been like
Is it on TikTok?
If
it's not on TikTok, I don't know.
To all of our friends in the UK, like I understand that they're having like some big issues.
Well, actually, Dan Hughes did message me and say you'd make a killing here as a truck driver right now.
Yeah, but I looked it up because I thought the same thing. I thought, why can't Gobby go take Worcester sauce to actual Worcester and to Huntersville,
deliver it to Huddersfield
and Birmingham and Lancaster? I looked, and apparently in the UK they have really high standards for truck drivers. Like you got to pass a test. Like what do you legit mean? There's like it's like a big deal. Like they're not
you have to pass a test here.
No, Gobby. Everybody knows that.
Hey,
anybody and their dogs can walk in.
How dare you talk about my craft?
Well, I know, but it's not like you're like a pilot and you got to have 10,000 hours.
I hear pilots are even less.
No, they're not.
I've heard pilots like they don't pay that well, and it's shocking what is required of pilots now in the U.S.
It's not a great job.
And not a good shocking, a sad shocking.
Yes. So that's, yeah.
Right, so are you talking physically or like knowing what you're driving? Like what is required of you over there?
I think there's not a lot. I think physically they want their drivers to be in good health. And there's just not a lot of, there's like various tests and licensures. It's hard to get because they can't get anybody to be a truck driver over there now. It's like they can't find anybody to just take up the craft of the black dog, of the truck.
So I can't take my American license and go over there and say I'm good to go.
They wouldn't let you in the country. You're on a no drive list. They would not let you over there. I don't think.
Well, they don't know a good truck driver when they see one.
Let me get back to my story before you interrupted me with this timely compliment, for which I have returned. So as I'm getting my Yeti and my canvas messenger bag, which is a gift from my marketer, she gave me a bag that has my name on it. It just says Jerry, so that when I carry this, in very large, like 40-point font, it just says Jerry, so that people will know that this is my bag. And I throw all my stuff in it. This is not a purse, although one could mistake it as such. This is
you can't say that's not my bag, baby.
This is my bag, baby. So the reason this is important is that my bag is in one hand, my Yeti is in my other, and I go out my front door. I have
you forgot to mention your Bluetooth earphones on your neck.
Thank you. So I have these wraparound Bluetooth headsets that I utilize because I'm on the phone constantly, and they lay ever so slightly across one's neck region.
They stay as they lay.
Yes, and as I was opening my front door and going out my screen door, something fell across my neck, and I just assumed it was my Bluetooth, like it was on my collar and it fell down around my neck. So of course my hands are full, so I kind of I did that shake thing, like you got something on you. I shook, and what was on my neck fell off onto my wrist and wrapped around my wrist, which then caused me to panic, drop most of what I had, and knock whatever this thing was that had gone around my wrist. And by the time it finally hit the floor of my front porch, I realized it was a snake. So this snake had crawled up my screen door and was hanging above it. So as to when I opened it, it then fell down and on me. So I do what a normal person would do after I calm down. I dispose of said
And
snake.
screamed.
No, I don't scream. I don't.
You didn't scream. I would have screamed.
I'm not a screamer. I am
would've-
not a screamer. I don't even like Scream. David
My
Arquette.
neighbors would have known.
No, I don't.
Scream is good.
No, it's not. Scream gives away your position.
Scream is good.
No,
Go ahead.
When you
It
scream,
gives away your position to the snake. Was he got sniper
well,
set up?
what does screaming do?
It's a fight or flight response.
No, it's
and
not.
you just scream.
No,
That's what
it's
you
not.
do. It's
No.
instinctual.
It's not instinctual. It's not autonomous.
Unless the people know that when you're in harm's way, they know where you're at all of a sudden.
No. Anyway,
The ambulance is on its way.
no,
Go
it's
ahead.
not. So this snake, I took a picture of it after I had,
Snake Plissken.
and I sent it to somebody, and they said, that's a rattlesnake. That's a baby rattlesnake. And I'm like, that can't be right. And anyways, this caused quite a stir that I thought that perhaps somebody has tried to do away with me like James Bond villain style, like by releasing a snake. But it turned out it was not a rattlesnake. I got on this.
It wasn't?
No.
You haven't told me this.
I have not told you this. So I got on Facebook, which is where one goes to get quality information.
Sure. Vaccines, anything you need to know, go to Facebook for the truth.
Correct. So I joined this Facebook group for exotic animals. No, I take that back. I joined this Facebook group for erotic animals, then left it, then joined the correct Facebook group for exotic animals.
What are erotic animals? Well, what would fall in that category?
It's relative. I want to make sure people understand I don't judge.
Erotic animals.
So
A fuzzy bee?
I then sent a picture to the purveyor
A horny rhino?
and manager of the exotic animals Facebook group, who then
The Texas Longhorn, if you know what I'm saying.
he then messaged me back and said, "This is a baby rat snake, and yes, they do climb.
Oh, not a rat snake.
No, and they look very colorful, but they turn darker, and that's what they So yeah, they look like they're bright and dangerous, but in relative terms, no, they're not poisonous. But no, they climb to look for bird nests to eat.
But it did have a diamond-shaped head, you said.
It did have a diamond-shaped head, but after
that's not the clear indicator then.
correct. So that might be wrong. And he then, and I sent this picture of the snake to several people because I needed to make sure that this was not, I did not almost die from a snake bite. And it turns out, like, apparently identifying snakes is hard. It's really hard. Somebody sent me a way to tell if the snake is dangerous. Apparently, you have to check the snake's anal plate.
That's somebody messing with you. Oh yeah, you got to check the butthole, Jerry.
Well,
it's all indicated in the butthole.
I don't think that any animal can be.
You got to sniff it. If it stinks, it's poisonous.
Like I don't think so. I think that's a joke. I don't think that one can tell how dangerous.
I always
snake
heard
is.
you got to check their eyes. Well, from the very little research I've ever done, it's the eyes and the shape of the head. But you said the shape of the head of this one was diamond shaped.
Well, it may have been diamond shaped because I dropped my Yeti on it. So that might have caused it.
And then the shape of the eyes, if they have circular eyes, they're good. If they have the classic snake eye shape, then they're venomous. That's also what I've heard. Could be completely false because I looked on Wikipedia.
So I've got that figured out. It was indeed a harmless snake that I interrupted its feeding. And
did you kill it?
well, like I said, you don't survive a Yeti. I dropped my Yeti.
It did land on it.
I dropped my Yeti.
Poor little rat snake.
I
was just up there trying to find his mother.
I'm pro rat snakes. Like, I like rat snakes because they're very...
They eat rats when they're bigger.
And who wants rats?
Nobody. I want a spider snake. Kill me some spiders. Spiders or snakes? Which would you rather have?
In my home?
Yes.
Well, of course, spiders, because don't want a snake crawling around my house.
I don't know. One time I was using the restroom and I had the door open. I don't normally do that, but this time I did.
Wait a minute.
No, I did not. I did not have the door open. No, I did not have the door open. I thought I was alone, but I did not have the door open. I proceed to open the door after using the restroom, and there is a baby snake in the middle of our hallway, and it freaked me out. And it was just a grass snake, but still the fact that a snake got into our house.
Why? Wait a minute. Let's go back to this. So when you're home alone, you still don't close the door to the bathroom?
If I'm home alone, no.
Why not?
Because I like to filter out the air, if you know what I'm saying.
The purpose of the door is to contain.
No, you don't want to. Then you've trapped in the air for the next time. You need to let it loose. Let it go free.
No.
Every time I use the restroom, my wife says, "Leave the door open," because she doesn't want it trapped in there. It's disgusting.
Open a window.
We don't have a window. We do, but it's covered over with plastic. Because it's a poorly constructed bathroom, and for some reason they put a window right by the shower, and mold, etc., blah, blah, blah. We've covered it over with plastic. We have no window in our bathroom.
That's disturbing.
It is. Ooh, yes.
I would like now to get to our emails. I have emails I'd like to read.
As you're reading, I'm going to use the restroom. I hope that's okay.
Leave the door open.
I'm going to leave the door open. It's not that. It's not a number one. It's not a number two.
You don't have to tell. Just go.
We're full disclosure here.
Board game tragedy.
It's a number one, everybody.
From Tyler from Chicagoland. He had a terrible tragedy happen last night. Our basement flooded. To make matters worse, 2 packed moving boxes full of games fell from the stack of other boxes into the depths. 17 games are gone. Here's the list of games I'm currently mourning. Terraforming Mars. Spirit Island. I've always wanted to play Spirit Island. Grand Austria Hotel. Hansa Teutonica. Oh, man, that sucks. Imhotep. Camel Up. The Networks. Networks is great. Trajan. Star Wars Rebellion. Oh, that's a good one. Tiny Towns, 5 Minute Marvel, Great Western Trail, Ice Cool, Outfox, 7 Wonders Duel, Kitchen Rush, and Everdell. Good Lord, man. You lost a lot of good games. They're soaked and beyond repair. I was dreaming of the day I could play Grand Austria Hotel, the Networks and Trajans, and all my other favorites with my wife. Let's see. This brought up an interesting point. I had more or less been forlorn earlier today when looking through the games more closely. I was quick
I heard you struggling over something just
forlorn. I can't say forlorn. He said that he was quick to praise something as being beyond repair and thinking I need to replace it. My wife, on the other hand, encouraged me to try to dry every single piece of card and board and everything alike. Something like this does make you realize how silly it is that these little bits of paper and cardboard have so much value ascribed to them by the community at large. Yet those components are all they physically are. I was mourning the loss of the perceived value and ascribed meaning today, but my wife helped me to realize that the game can still be played with warped components as long as the art and words on the pieces are still functional. To make a long story short, we now have every components for 16 games laid out and drying in our house. Where do you guys fall on this? If this happened, would you be trying to rescue or would you be trying to replace the game? Have you ever had a similar experience of losing games or any other items in some sort of catastrophe? P.S. Huge shout out to Starling Games. They immediately responded to my email, asked for some pictures, and are sending me all the damaged components free of charge. This anti-Asmodee style of policy is very refreshing. Now, Starling Games is Everdell, isn't it? I believe.
Yes.
So I'm glad he brought this up because this is a pet peeve of mine. People on Facebook often will post pictures of boxes of games that they just got from Kickstarter that are slightly warped. And they freak out and say, should I ask for a refund? What should I do? And it will just be like the corner of the box is crinkled. I think that is beyond stupid. That is beyond stupid. Nobody will notice that. And and I have feelings about this, but I myself, when I was getting into X-Wing miniatures, I had purchased a extra TIE fighter. And this TIE fighter was a little bit cockeyed. He was warped. And I thought, well, it still works. Like, I just went about my business. And then one day, me and Enrique played this game at a local board game shop. And one of the guys mentioned, hey, if you just email Fantasy Flight, they'll send you another one. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. But I took him up on this challenge, and I did just that. And
that a challenge?
All they wanted was a
Mufasa,
picture.
Lion King.
They just wanted a picture of it. And they sent me another TIE fighter. So now I have 2 TIE fighters. And I realized that a big thing was a lot of people who bought these X-Wing miniatures, if there was the slightest blemish, they were emailing the company and getting another one for free.
That's not fair.
That's not fair. I did not like that.
And I understand Fantasy Flight is part of Asmodee, which is the biggest company around, and I'm very glad Starling Games sent him this thing, but that's not fair.
Right. And so this is
because people will apply that to smaller publishers.
Right. And that's what gets me. And Jamie Stegmaier has had thoughts on this in the past regarding people and replacement components and things of that nature. The other component that I've had was from one of my favorite games, which is by a small publisher, DVG, Dan Viersen Games, which is Thunderbolt Apache Leader. The board, which is essential to the game, was horrifically warped. And this was a tile chit type game. So you're utilizing this board all the time, and you needed it to be flat because the board was also terrain. And it drove me insane. And I sent an email to DVG saying, hey.
Strongly worded.
No, just saying, hey, this board has warped. Can I buy one? Like, I just want to buy the board. And the email went unanswered for like a month, and I completely forgot about it until I get this email back from this guy saying, I'm so sorry, I was on vacation. I handled the quality control stuff for DVG. I'm sending you a board. What's your address? And they mailed me a board, which was very nice. I didn't have to pay for it, but I was willing to I wanted to buy that component. It was not their fault that the board was warped ever so slightly. The game was still functional.
I'm sure you'll get into it a little bit further, but I've had 3 instances. One was we had friends over. They spilled wine on my game. Royals. Love Royals. It dried out. It was a little warped, but it dried out perfectly fine. Like, if you let the stuff dry out, sometimes it's just perfectly fine. But at the same time, I can understand there's also a part of me that's like, I like my games to be in pristine condition. That's just a part of me. When we first started playing Resistance, Bubba spilled 7-Up all over the table, warped several cards of mine in Resistance, and bugged me forever. As a new gamer, it bugged me. Now, I don't care. If it's something that, if you're familiar enough that this person has this warped card and you're like, oh, that's this card, I know what they have, I now know what to play, then sure, that needs to be replaced. But most publishers, and I don't know how they have the money for that, to just replace random parts, and sometimes at your own fault. Now, if, like, I received Furnace, I ordered Furnace, it came to me, it had a fault. They gave me, it's supposed to have these discs that are 1, 2, 3, 4. I had 2, 2, 3, 4. I posted about it on Instagram. The dude, I don't even know if I added them, but the dude messaged me saying, "Hey, we'll send you the new one. Just go here." And I'm sure it may be minimal expense to them, and that's good customer service, excellent customer service. But if they're that, especially Fantasy Flight, if a miniature can't be cheap, I thought that's the whole reason games are expensive is miniatures. I think that's going above and beyond sometimes, especially if it's your own fault. It's not that the game showed up to you faulty. That I can understand, but something that happens in your own home, that's on you, bruh.
Right, and I think that there is I think it's the people who collect board games who don't play them are the types that get bent out of shape about the box being slightly dented or something of that nature. I assume that it must come from this idea that this is something pristine, this is something valuable. I remember being a part of a Kickstarter of the bit boxes, and the bit boxes idea was you throw the box away and you're able to store the components, so you can store multiple games in these bit boxes. So games that I knew that I would never get rid of, I knew I'm going to keep these games forever, I got rid of the boxes and put them in bit boxes. I did not realize what heresy that was to some people. I was throwing away the box, but I needed the room, so that's what I did. And people freaked out about this. Who would throw away the box of the game? The box is so important. The box. I want to know who decided that. When did the box become?
I think it's like books,
but
it's for display only. So I can have I could download all these books onto my Kindle and just throw out this bookshelf,
which you should.
Yeah.
And that, there's no.
But I at the same time, I also appreciate the visual and the feel of a book. So I get that too. But I'm not that attached to either. Board games, books. If I had several of my games get lost in a flood, yes, I would. That would suck. Especially Tyler had some good games here: Terraforming Mars, Grand Austria, Hansa Teutonica. The Networks, Trajan. He had some solid.
He had some good games and Terraforming Mars.
That's true. I've heard that. I want to play that Ares Expedition because I've heard many people say they can now completely just do away with Terraforming Mars. But that would suck. Especially because I spent $50 on this game and now it's warped and useless. But that's the thing is.
But it's not useless.
Well, it's not. You can still use it, like he was saying. You let it dry out. This and that might be a little warped, but I was shocked at how Royals held up after the liquid was spilled on it. After it dried out, it was good to go. I was ready to order a whole new game of Royals, but it was fine. It was fine. It was. I don't know. Some things, I guess, if they're lower quality, they might be damaged more.
I think this comes from the idea of how a game should be cared for. I think this is all in everybody's head, and if everybody would just calm down about boxes and component quality and things of that nature, and just get over the fact that board games are going to get damaged. I play games with my kids, and I know any game that I'm playing with my kids, I have to, in the back of my mind, go,
they might drool on them.
They're gonna bend the cards. Something's gonna happen. I don't care.
They're gonna sneeze, cough, puke. Things all number twos. They're kids. Yeah. Who knows what they're gonna do on games?
Don't worry about it. So, anyways,
kids are disgusting, is what we're saying.
Nah, I don't have any problems with kids. Brandon Haynes.
As a father, that's the correct answer.
Well, no. That is the answer. Kids aren't disgusting. They
are disgusting. Kids are disgusting.
I beg to differ, says the man. Let me just say this. My kids close the bathroom door. You, on the other hand... That's disgusting!
They're trapping it in there!
No, they have a window. You, on the other hand, are flinging fecal matter out into the hallway. So, there's that. My dearest snobs and Enrique, Brandon Haynes.
This?
Brandon.
Oh, Brandon.
Brandon.
What's up, Brandon? Brendan, he's a good supporter of the show. He goes to cons. He wears our shirts. He posts about it. If you enjoy our show, post about us. Proselytize. That's the key. Proselytize.
Find us some other followers for this cult.
He went to Gen Con. He wore our shirt. He went to, I think he went to Origins as well. And I think he's going to BGG. He's hitting them all up. Continue.
He says that he's just going to start typing and see what comes out. And he's enumerated 12 things. Number 1, I think y'all need to give Viscounts of the West Kingdom another shot. I can't remember in what episode you talked about it. I was quite surprised you didn't like it. We adore it. I play it 2 or 3 players, very tight, deck building, tableau. My boy Rondell doesn't do much for me, but I still think the decision space is nice. Viscounts, is that the one with... Yeah, that is the Rondell. That was the thing with the thing in the middle. And you
the whole game is a Rondell.
Yeah,
yes.
No, I just didn't. It just didn't click. Didn't click.
Jerry is not a fan of most of Garfield games, period. The only one that he respects slightly is Raiders or Raiders of Scythia. Now that that's a new one.
Circadian's First Light is...
That's not his.
But it is from Garfield Games, I believe.
It is from Garfield Games, but he's not the creator.
I know,
artist,
but you said
designer,
Garfield Games.
whatever
I
it's
was
called.
correcting you because you were horribly wrong. Number
I got
2,
you. My bad.
Dragonheart is one of my favorite movies. Anytime Gobby references it or does
Bowling to the stars, bowling to the stars.
He says it holds up.
I need to rewatch it because I cannot imagine it holding up.
He says the score to the movie is outstanding. Number 3,
I wonder who does it.
Score in Independence Day is also awesome.
I do not remember the score in Independence Day, but I liked Independence Day. Welcome to Earth. I mean, Independence Day was 1996. I was, let's see, how old was I? I was 19 years old, very impressionable. Me and my best friend at the time walked out of Independence Day pumped. Like we were ready to defend Earth from aliens. It was awesome. Loved Independence Day. Will Smith at his height. No, not so much.
He's always been curious. I know Gobby and Jerry live in different cities. What's the drive time between them? Does Gobby ever go to Jerry's place or vice versa? And where is Enrique? Don't dox yourself. I'm just generally curious because it seems that I have to drive to friends for gaming. And I'm wondering what your logistics look like. So Gobby lives 50 miles from me. And Enrique lives about 20 miles.
Enrique's right in between.
Yeah.
Like he halves us.
Yeah. So I go pick up Enrique and then I drive the Gobbies because if you're at my house, you have my kids and it's loud and noisy. Hopefully, not after I get moved, I'll have a bigger spot and more secluded so they can come over and be over there. We don't have the same craziness. But no, we always play at Gobby's house for the most part. Let's see. I'm heading to BGG in November. Any tips or pointers? Take food with you. Stay at the hotel at BGG if you can and take lots of food with you. Do the virtual trade. They do it. I think they start
the flea market.
The flea market, the virtual flea market. I love that.
If you want to sell crap, that's how you get rid of crap on. We have Jerry, I have a closet full of games for us to sell that we have been unable to sell because of the pandemic.
So
we need to go to a BGG.
The great thing about BGG is that there's this guy who runs a forum on Board Game Geek that they do the virtual game flea market. So you essentially post the games you want to sell, and people will bid on them, or they'll buy them, or they'll make you offers. And every year, I had like a table to myself because I sold so many games and bought so many games. And after everybody buys and sells online, about a few days before BGG starts, the virtual flea market ends. They all meet up for 1 hour at this room that is reserved there at the site. Everybody brings their games. They put them on tables. Everybody has signs. It's all in alphabetical order. And they all go down and buy the games from you. And you can sell and buy and do all types of stuff there. I love it.
And not have to pay shipping prices.
And not
That's
have
what
to
kills
pay
you.
shipping. I have walked into that place with 2 IKEA bags, those big blue IKEA bags, filled to the hilt with games, sold every single one of them, and then a few classic games that I wanted to get my hands on that were out of print, bought those and walked out. It's a wonderful thing. That and in the middle of the night, go play the party games. There's always party games at BGG at night. That's when everybody goes to the bar, everybody goes out and then starts playing Werewolf or Resistance or whatever else. 2 Rooms in the Boom is one of my favorite games to play at a convention. 2 Rooms in the Boom is like a staple for me and Enrique and Bubba. We go to BGG, and one night we will go and stay up and play 2 Rooms in the Boom with just people we don't even know. It's great.
What's the tabletop spinner game? It's a top game.
Battling Tops.
Battling Tops.
Battling Tops is just the show that they put on at night.
It's stupid fun, but it's really fun.
Do the poker tournament. Sign up for the poker tournament.
Love the poker. Man, you're making me miss BGG with all this. Like, I really want to go, but we can't. Oh, man, I'd love to go back to BGG.
Next year. Have you ever found a mechanic in a game that ruins or spoils the experience because it breaks solid gameplay or strategy? Ever remove or alter a card mechanic because you thought it hindered the game? Yes, actually. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head, but there are many games that we will play that I'll go, I don't know why this is here. Like, I don't know why this thing exists. And I've house ruled a few things. I'm thinking, was it Game of Thrones that we had an issue where I think the rules in Game of Thrones in the edition that we were playing said that you could not talk secretly. Like, all the plans had to be made out loud at the table. And I said, no, that's not right. I generally like to change up games that have this rule that has now been colloquially termed in our game group as Jerry's rule. Whereas if you make an agreement, it's binding. I don't like that. I like being able to...
You want to backstab.
I like to backstab. And it kills me in games that say, if you agree to something, it's binding. You have to do it. No. Now, getting backstabbed is the way to go. Let's see. The game of the con for him was Skull King.
Oh, my God.
At Gen
Trick-taking? Come on. We're not a trick-taking... This is not a trick-taking podcast. We do not endorse trick-taking games, except for 42. 42, the greatest domino game of all time. Trick-taking is the pinnacle of trick-taking games. I don't care for... I will play. I played the crew. I own Skull King. My family likes it. Trick-taking is...
Tricks is for kids and old people.
I don't like trick-taking games. I love 42 dominoes. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. Is that a Southern thing? Is 42 a Southern thing?
Slapping bones? Yeah, that's a Southern thing.
Shaking them bones around? Yeah. But 42 is the ultimate trick-taking game for me. Skull King, I get it. I understand because you have all these different levels of pirates and then the mermaids and then they can beat the pirates, but the pirates can't beat the blah, blah, blah.
Stupid.
And then the crew has tried to mix it up. I kind of liked what the crew was trying to do. No, they did it. But still, it boils down to trick-taking. We're just not trick-taking fans. Period.
His game of the con for Origins was Furnace. So I'm interested in playing.
We have yet to play freaking Furnace. I own it. I bought it. It's misprinted.
Freaking Furnace.
I've noticed I say freaking lots of times. Sometimes I need to cut that out. Freaking. I say it too much.
Benchmark whiskey from Buffalo Trace is an incredible price point of $20 a handle for quality. I like
$20 a handle.
I like Buffalo.
That's what I'm talking about.
I like Buffalo Trace.
I like Buffalo Trace.
So does Joe Rogan. I now feel like I have to do 10 items just because top 10. That's his number 9. Number 10. How do you guys feel about heavy games versus activities or light family games? I asked because my game group recently played easy games such as Cult Express, The Mine, and I think we had a better time than doing heavier games such as Tidal Blades and Cosmic Fog.
They're two different animals. There's no comparison.
No, what he's asking is about the experience. Of course there's no comparison. They're heavy and light. So there's this idea that if you play heavy games, you play heavy games. Like every time you get together, you have to play these whatever you call it, these event games. And that's not always the case, because right now, I haven't played a board game in a while. I'm tired. I've got other stuff going on.
We haven't played a board game together in 2 months.
So when I get over the gobbies, I'm not going to say, hey, let's bust out this heavy game. Let's play Eclipse real fast. No, I want to play something light. Like, my mindset's not there. And so at times it's really good to switch it up. I remember some of the best times we've had when we've just had a board game day was playing light games. Just a bunch of them. Quick games and, things that we enjoyed playing that we know are good, that we already knew the rules to and not having to set up. So, yeah, I think that there is certainly room for that, and people don't get tied up in the weight of the game. Get tied up in the love of the game.
It's like, okay, so for a board gaming person, such as myself, yourself, we haven't been able to play together in 2 months. I'm desperate to play something. So my family gets together. And now, when I say my family, this is my brother-in-law, Lance, who literally introduced me to gaming in the modern world with Catan. Like, he brought in Catan. He had the Knights and Robbers expansion, I think, which was like a 6-hour freaking game. Oh my God, don't ever do that. But Catan, like this, I was like, oh my God, this is a board game, blah, blah, blah. And that's what started me down this whole wormhole. Now I have a friggin' podcast. But he has not went beyond Catan. Like, he has not went beyond it. He does not care. He will play games, but Catan is where he's still at. So they came down, we had a family get together, and I'm like, the family loves code names. I'll enjoy code names. I'd rather play Shogun. I'd rather play Anachrony. But you know what? The family loves code names. It's better than nothing. That's what party games are to me for the most part. There are some that I enjoy thoroughly. I really enjoy the Time's Up recall because it's all about movies and songs and books. I love movies and songs and books, especially movies. But we played code names. And that's generally for me, if I'm in a hard spot, I need a fix of board gaming, I have to play a party game with the people that I generally associate with, because most people except for DJ, most people in my board gaming group, they just want to play party games. That's it. That's as heavy as they want to get. Skull, Time's Up, along those lines. I got super hard up last week, and I'm like, DJ, I need to freaking play a game. Jerry's been too busy. Please come over. He came over. We played Riverboat. I wanted to talk about Riverboat. Riverboat is really good. Michael Kiesling. I thought that game was super old because of the what do they call that? The visuals of it, the optics of it. No, it was 2017. That's a pretty new game. But it feels like an old game, and it's a really good game. Riverboat, love that game.
Shout out to Jason Dinger.
That's the first game I've played like that since me and Jerry have been able to get together in 2 months. Yet again, 2 months. We plan on getting together for November 5th, I think, is when we're going to get together, and we will record and play, and hopefully be able to do all sorts of things. But yeah, party games to me are not my primary, but they do in a pinch for a hardcore board gamer such as ourselves. I want to play these deep, in-depth strategy games, whatever, all the stuff crap we play. But you know what? Most people don't. They don't want to think that hard. It's too hard to explain. So party games it is.
They're weak-minded. They're lazy people. And that's okay. No, actually, I had an interesting experience regarding teaching a game. I lied. I just realized I did play a board game the other day. I went over to Enrique's house, and there's some people over there.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Where was my invite?
This was a private affair.
How dare you?
It was Enrique's dad's anniversary, and I guess his mom's. They have been married for quite some time. And so they invite us over to dinner. So Stanley was there. Bubba and Big Bubba was there. But everybody...
Bubba, Stanley, whose nickname is Bubba, which has been on our show, and his brother, who is also named Stanley.
Yes, there
Two
are
Stanleys.
There are two Stanleys. It's kind of like how Mike Tyson named all those kids Mike Tyson. Was that right?
I have no idea.
No, that was
what you're talking
Holyfield. It was Evander or George Foreman. George Foreman. It was
about.
George.
Named his kids George?
Yeah, he named all of his kids George.
It was George 1, George 2.
So there was a lot of young kids over there, and I say young, like 12, 13, around that age group.
Ugh, kids.
And they were struggling to play charades. They were playing one.
Oh my God.
They were playing one of those.
Well, okay, we've been at Gen Z. What's after Gen Z? Like your kids are Gen what? 0?
I don't know. They're
Gen Z's we're at the last of the alphabet. Do we go to numerical now? You're Gen 1.
I don't know what they are. I'll have to look it up. But these kids were struggling playing one of those mass market charades games that's just like charades but modified. And I looked over and saw that Enrique's sister had Ticket to Ride Europe. So I bust this out, set it up, and quickly said, okay, here's what you're doing. You're just making routes. These are the cards in your hands, and I modified the rules. I didn't include anything. I actually
you dumbed it down for them, is what you're saying.
Set collection, match the color of the cards to the route. So on your turn, fulfill a route, pick up 2 cards, or play the cards in your hand. That's what you're going to do. And this 13-year-old kid looks at me and says, this is really complicated. And it dawned on me. So I had this experience. And it didn't dawn on me that board gaming, it is different. And it's a different experience because you're having to physically and tactilely, is that even a word, move things around and deal with concepts that are somewhat foreign to you. So it's kind of like when you play a video game. I'm old enough to remember that when you bought a video game, it came with an instruction booklet. It told you how to play. Like you didn't have a tutorial. There was a little booklet that came with it that gave you like, this is how you install it if it was like a PC game and how to play the game. And then somebody at some point in time decided, hey, we're going to start putting tutorials in video games. There has not been a booklet, an instruction book on a video game, PC game in a long time. Because
since like the OG Nintendo.
Right. Because you buy the game, there's a tutorial in it.
And they walk you through it.
You're going to learn this the hard way. That's how it is. And you're generally dealing with one type of input. You're dealing with one thing, what you're trying to do. It's the same thing when people play Bejeweled. You're just matching these things. You're just moving Tetris style and trying to connect these dots, so to speak. So these are all concepts that people can relate to some degree. But now when you have this thing that's not on a screen, it's different. Like you're utilizing a different part of your brain to try to figure out, what am I going to do? You mean I have to take these cards and they're match the color to this thing on the board? And it blows people's minds because it is a different way of interacting in a game. Not so much that it's complicated. So it makes them think.
Well, it's more than roll and move. Like Monopoly, Candyland, it was just roll a dice. It tells you what to move.
Right. And they realize that that the whole thing is rigged. Jack's favorite game was Sorry for the longest time. And Sorry, you just literally flip over a card and do what it says. There's no strategy in Sorry. You don't make any choices. You just flip over a card and do what it says. And one day he wanted to play Sorry. I was kind of sick. I laid on the couch. We set the game up and I said, okay, you just flip the card over for me and move my guy. And Jack won the game. I literally never touched the board. I didn't make any decisions because he was just flipping the cards over and moving the pieces around. That's the last time we played Sorry. Because instantly he realized the cards decide who wins. It's random. It doesn't make there's no choice to make. He instantly hated that game because now he has moved past that of him just letting the game kind of play out. He wants to make a decision. He wants to be able to do stuff. And I think that's important. So I think people have to grow into that. And some people just choose not to. But anyways, Ben Rodea. I hope I said that right. Ben Rodea? Ben Rodea. Rodeo. He's not my first rodeo. Thought I'd email you. You're always asking for him. I am continually
We are. Send us emails if you like our show. Send us emails. Tweet about us.
Don't tweet
Instagram
about us.
Tweet about us.
Don't.
Shout out. See, you ruin what I try to do. If you enjoy our show, tell people about us.
Keep it to yourself.
Like us.
Keep it to yourself. I'm continually delighted with your podcast. I never really know what I'm going to get when I switch it on, but that added element of danger adds to the overall experience. Episode 166 was some of the finest broadcast media I have ever come across. Sincere, raw, and honest, it was a pleasure despite the topic to listen to.
Hit your pleasure zone.
I hit... Stop myself. I currently live in the Czech Republic.
Oh, this is Ben Joseph. Ben Joseph of Facebook.
Oh, yeah, Ben Joseph. Now, I have been in a river close to the Czech Republic on a raft. I almost fell in Poland. I was in Poland, and we got on a raft, and we went in between the Czech Republic was on one side, and Poland was the other, and the guy was saying, if you fall off, swim to this side. Don't go over there, because that's basically crossing the border without a passport. So I've been close to the Czech.
That was our episode about depression, anxiety, blah, 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 which I still experience, but I just don't talk about it. It's okay.
That's bury it deep.
Bury it deep. That's what I've learned.
Bury it deep.
Bury all those things deep.
Act
like they don't exist. That's the way to handle it.
That's what
what Jerry does.
That's what I do. That's what I do. He breaks his top 10 down into board game categories and then finds my favorite game for the situation. So let's see. His 2-player.
It does make sense. It is. We often say, top 10s, top 20s, whatever. They're hard to do because generally you prefer,
It gets samey.
certain games in certain situations.
Gets very samey. 2-player is cribbage. Now I would love to play cribbage. I don't know how.
Never played it.
It's one of those old games with the little board and cards. I
want to play bridge.
Yeah, that too. Cribbage, bridge. Maybe I'm getting them confused. That's what I want to learn. Someone needs to teach me that.
Like in our newspaper, they used to have like bridge moves. Like so-and-so did this move. I'm like, this sounds like an awesome game. I'd love to play bridge, but I have zero idea what it's about.
Teach you. I need someone.
We have Teach You. Christians So Trained sent us Teach You. We have yet to play it.
Somebody teach me, teach you. More than 6. Resistance. I enjoy Resistance. It does.
I'll go Mafia instead. Resistance can be beat. That's my problem with Resistance.
I like Resistance because it just turns into yelling. I highly suggest.
My problem with Resistance is, if you keep sending out the same exact players, it's very easy to narrow down. Okay. It's very easy to beat.
But if you like Resistance and you want to try something else, this game got terrible reviews. I do not know why, but I remember the year it came out, everybody hated Dead Last. I love Dead Last. It's so mean. I love it.
It's like a Wild West shootout.
I'll never forget Gobby shooting himself in Dead Last. Over and over and over. What's great about Dead Last, you have a table full of people. Everybody puts their little character, which is a color, like your Mr. Pink, Mr. Blue, up in front of you. And in your hand of cards, it's all the cards of the players that are playing. So it's pink, blue, red. And what you're trying to do is get other people at the table to all vote to who you're going to kill
crazy.
Off. And so
it's like there's literally no role playing. It is just everybody has a color. Bam, let's vote out brown. Why? No reason. We just got to vote out somebody. It's just full hardcore, just like getting people to go with you.
I had the worst experience playing this game because you have to play it with mean people and people who will take the joke, because if not, it's very devastating. Because literally,
don't play it with sensitive people.
You have to yell out, hey, let's kill Blue, and try to convince people. But here's the thing. If Blue suspects that the majority of people are going to vote when it's time for him, if he plays an ambush card, he survives. And I believe the rule is he gets to kill somebody off, or all the people that tried to kill him dies off. I can't remember.
He gets to choose.
But if you play the ambush card thinking that everyone's coming for you and you're not that guy, you end up accidentally basically dying.
You're out as
Yeah,
well.
you shoot yourself
Yes.
in the foot, which is hilarious because Gobby the whole game thought everybody was always after him. So everybody would be voting for somebody
Paranoid,
else.
bro.
And Gobby kept playing that ambush card. It was crazy. I love the game. Don't know why people.
Dead Last is extremely fun with like a group of like 8 to 10 to 12, however many it plays.
I love
but
Dead Last, and I don't know why.
and it whittles down the field real quick. If you are not in the majority of votes, you're out. Like it whittles down the field real quick.
Conflict. Battle for Rokugan.
Oh, wait. I thought you were talking about Star Trek. Oh, my God.
Battle for Rokugan. I would love to play this game. Played it, demoed it. I don't remember.
You didn't like it when we demoed it.
Well, again, the guy that was demoing it was not. I'm not sure the guy demoing it really explained the game very well. But I've heard who's talking about Mike Langford really likes this game. I have looked for
Somebody
this game.
likes it a lot, yeah.
I can't find it, but I would love to play this game. If you like Battle for Rokugan, I really think that like Commit, it tends to be it's pretty good too. I think that whole card play / area control. Labor distribution, that's a category. Labor distribution. I guess that's
What
worker
are
placement.
you even reading? I
I'm
don't even know where
reading his
you're at.
email. Do you mind?
What number are you on?
He doesn't have it numbered.
Who are you on?
Ben Joseph's email. Do you
Oh, my
mind?
bad.
Let me read the
I'm back
email.
on Brandon Haynes.
Well-
I'm behind.
Viticulture. Viticulture's good.
I have maxed out on viticulture. I've played it enough times.
So what kills
enough,
viticulture?
Too much, and what? That's a good question. You don't let me think about these things. What kills viticulture? To me, okay. Let me be completely honest, as opposed to all the lying I do normally. Viticulture in my mind is a game that I've played so many times. I know what the moves are. I know what the cards are. And it's like, this game isn't going to surprise me. But every time I play it, I enjoy it. But that doesn't mean that I'm kind of just ready to move on. Like I'm ready to move on from viticulture. It was my number one game for several years. It will not be the number one game the next time we do our top whatever. But I'm kind of over viticulture. I'm ready to move on. It needs an expansion. It needs something.
Answer my question. What kills viticulture? What's the other worker placement game?
In that regard.
Right,
What game
right.
kills viticulture?
Yes.
Do you have one in mind? Because you say it like you have one in mind. I don't know what you're thinking. I have to look and think.
You don't have to think. What game do you
Yokohama.
prefer? Okay,
Yokohama.
There you go. I think that
Dang, you pressured me.
Well,
You pressured
I'm
me.
just saying.
Stop pressuring me. Stop pressuring. That's Michael Jackson.
I like Michael Jackson. Less box, more fun. Skull King. Again, I've got to play this game because I've never gotten to play it, but everybody seems to like Skull.
It's set collection. It's nothing special. It's freaking like every other trick. Not set collection. Trick taking. My bad. It's like every other freaking trick. Have you played Spades? You've played Skull King.
Calm down. Let the guy have fun. Gobby. Drop the dice. Lords of Vegas. Completely agree with that. Brain game. Through the Ages. I will say I've got the app. I'm trying to get through the ages. I just can't get to where I enjoy it as much as I do Nations. Nations to me kills Through the Ages. I highly suggest giving it a shot.
I would like to meet somebody that's reasonable because there seems to be this delineation
Hello?
or dichotomy.
I'm reasonable.
No, no, not you. I want to meet somebody that has played both games and can honestly offer their advice.
I've played both games, and I'm offering my
You
advice.
have played the app. You haven't played
I owned Through the
through the
Ages.
age.
I owned
You
it.
have never played it in real life.
Oh, my God. It's the same.
Rado has played both. He is Team Nations.
Right.
almost everyone else seems to be through the ages.
Well,
that's why I want to play it. I've never played it. We've set it up. It was too much of a bear to learn at the time, so we played something else. I want to play through the ages just to say I've played it. I can definitively say I prefer it or Nation. We played Civilization, the Sid Meier game. It was fine, but nothing like Nations. Like, of all these big, epic civilization building games, I have preferred Nations to that. Through the Ages, though, is still top of the chart. It's like people love this game. They're fanatical for it. And I want to play it once just to see what the hubbub's about. Right. But people are also freaking crazy about Terra Mystica, which freaking sucks.
Well, you can play the app, and the app actually tries to teach you, which you also need to learn, the game.
Teach you, yeah.
Beer game, Cosmic Encounter. I can't agree with this more. I really like Cosmic Encounter when it's viewed as a party game. The people who don't like Cosmic Encounter...
No, Skull. Skull is your beer game.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I love Cosmic Encounter for the sheer fact that if you play the game and you play it as a party game and play it as a silly, crazy game, it's great. It's when people try to make it more than what it is. It's not some grand strategy game. It's a game of craziness and of just back and forth negotiation and card playing and stupidity. And
so you would rather play it over what the frick am I saying? Over Skull?
I would play if you have the right people playing Cosmic Encounter. Yes.
Really?
Yes, I love Cosmic Encounter.
I did not know you had this level of love for Cosmic Encounter because
I have it in a box.
Hey, I hate it. I know you have it.
You don't hate it.
I do hate this game.
No, you don't. I wish you would realize that you're taking somebody else's opinion and claiming that it's yours.
I played this game. I hate playing a card and then someone else trumping my card with their card.
No, here's the thing. We played this game so many times. And every time you had a great time, you loved it. We played it one time with DJ. And DJ says, I don't like it because it's back and forth. I play a card, you play a card. And then that was it. And then we didn't play that game again. And then all of a sudden, you went from talking about how DJ thinks this to one day you dropped DJ's name from it and start saying, you think this. You just took on DJ's opinion. I have never not played this game with you and you not love it to pieces. Like you go, and here's the thing. Mark my words. What is the day? This is okay. You just mark this podcast, whichever number this will be. We will play Cosmic Encounter sometime in the future.
Okay.
And you'll gripe and gripe. Oh, stupid. We'll play it with the group of people that know that this game is just silly and fun, and you will have a ball. And then on the next podcast, you'll be like, I used to think. And I'll say, well, remember when you forgot what your opinion was? And you decided that DJ's opinion...
But I have stood by the fact I'm not a negotiation guy for quite some time. It's not,
but you keep saying...
Chinatown? I freaking hate Chinatown.
You don't hate Chinatown.
Okay, well then hey, guess what? Quit your freaking job so we can play some games.
I can't help it. Sell me what you got. Modern art. The perfect auction game is what Ben
Modern art is perfect.
Modern art is perfect.
Possibly high society in its place. I'm a high society guy. I really do love modern art, but high society to me just streamlines it. I freaking love high society. Ben, oh my god!
Ben's list is spot on.
It's very good.
I would say the only thing I would drop,
except for Skull King.
I would say try Skull. Just try Skull, drop the king. Through the Ages, give Nations a try. If you like something that's kind of real, I don't want to say it's super crunchy, but like there's a between Viticulture and Through the Ages, for some reason my mind keeps going to Anachrony. Like that it's heavy, yet also kind of worker placement. I really like Anachrony.
All right. If you enjoy our show, let people know.
Done.
Rate us, review us, shout us out on Instagram.
Keep it to yourself.
Twitter. See, we just fight against you. We're exactly as far as we'll ever go.
Keep it to yourself.
All right, I'm Gabi.
Alrighty. Yeah.
That's Jerry. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Board Game Snobs. Stay classy.